For a landscape scene, you'll want to know how to set the appropriate scene mode. For more control over the camera, however, you'll want to set the aperture priority mode instead. You'll need to turn the flash off, and as always, you'll want to set an appropriate white balance. Let's get started by setting the appropriate scene mode. Turn the mode dial to SCN. In the back, use the navigation buttons to move the highlighted field to Scenery. Then press Set. With the Scenery profile selected, the camera is optimized for taking pictures of landscapes. Go ahead and press the shutter button halfway to lock focus on your subject, in this case, something in the distance, such as the horizon. Recompose the image the way you want it, and then press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the shot. For more control over the camera functions, I recommend using the aperture priority mode instead. Turn the mode dial to A. The aperture priority mode allows you to set the aperture you want to use while the camera sets an appropriate shutter speed. This is perfect for landscapes. With landscapes, you want to get everything from the foreground to the background in focus, and that requires a high aperture value or a small aperture opening. So what you want to do is press the exposure button to highlight the aperture value. In this case, we want to increase the aperture value, creating a longer depth of field. So I'll use the right navigation button to move this to f6.3. f6.3 is the largest aperture value this camera can use. It's also the smallest aperture opening the camera can produce. So this will get us everything from the foreground to the background in focus. Go ahead and press the exposure button so you don't accidentally change the aperture value. Now I need to set the flash. With landscapes, you want to turn the flash off because it won't do any good. Press the flash button or the right navigation button right here and go down to Forced Flash Off. Then press Set. Now all I need to do is set the appropriate white balance. Press the Quick Menu button right down here and use the right or left navigation button to move the field to the white balance option. The appropriate white balance for landscapes is either daylight, cloudy, or shade. Daylight and cloudy will get you probably the most accurate colors. Shade will help warm up the tones in the image a bit. I'll choose daylight and then press Set. Now I'm ready to take my picture. Go ahead and place the focusing brackets over the subject, in this case probably the horizon or something in the background. Press the shutter button halfway to lock focus. Then recompose the image the way you want it. With the image composed the way you want it on the screen, then press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the shot. For a slightly wider field of view, you can change the camera's aspect ratio. To do this, go ahead and press the main menu button and go down to aspect ratio. Normally I have mine set to 3:2, but for landscapes it's nice to get a little bit more of the scene in the frame. Press to the right and go down to choose 16:9. Then press Set. Press Set again to escape the main menu. And now I'll see a little bit more on the right and left side of the frame. Now, just as before, place the focusing brackets over the subject, press the shutter button halfway, recompose the image, and press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the shot.